Hello all, welcome back to One Pitch Catch. India did not really have a good weekend as a cricketing national teams. Both teams lost. The first one is, I think, more significant considering it came in at the T20 World Cup. It was a must-win game. They had already lost to South Africa earlier, so they pretty much had no choice. They had to win it, otherwise they lost out of the semi-final reckoning. I and they didn't really do a good job yesterday. But I guess one thing related is if you go back to the 2007 World Cup, when the men's World Cup, ODI World Cup, when India lost, I think basically one game against Bangladesh, one bad day against Bangladesh basically cost them the spot. I think they did lose to Sri Lanka as well, but that may have just been an aftermath of that loss. But after that, what the BCCI has done is made sure that India will not go through that same situation again. Even if it's just one bad day, there will be enough matches in the league stages such that the one bad day doesn't impact the semi-final qualification. Maybe the BCCI could do something similar to the women's events based on what happened. Basically, they lost to South Africa, which they should have won. Australia has always been a superpower, and the ODI World Cup after they lost, they've just been smashing teams around, including India, which toured there after the sometime earlier this year.
Yeah.
So losing to Australia, especially in women's cricket, is not a shame, but losing to most other teams, you have to think about whether you did whatever was needed. So maybe the BCCI will insist on the rules changing and maybe, playoffs and things like that.
It's not just the BCCI. ICCI also want India in all the tournaments
Yeah,
going to
exactly. Yeah.
to all the stages because that's where the ad revenues are. I mean, we have earlier seen reports of ad partners pulling out because India has not reached the
Correct.
next stage. So this has happened
Yeah.
for real. So obviously they would want India to be there. But I mean, though ICC and BCCI want India to be there, there is also another facet to it. India women, with all due respect to what they have achieved and what the great innings that they've played, great wins they've had over the years, are still playing like the old men's T20 that Indian men's were. Right? They're not
Okay.
having that firepower. Because
Mhm.
because even with IPL, the men's team took more than a decade to reach the T20 firepower.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
they are.
almost 15 years, right?
Yes, yeah. I
Almost
mean, they
15
were.
years. Yeah.
I mean, we've touched a saying. We've said it multiple times. They played it as a 40% ODI for a very
Yeah.
long time. So which didn't help. So I think the Indian women are also stuck in that rut right now. Is what I feel because for all, the great batter Jemima is her 100 in this World Cup 50 over semi-final and all those things. But I don't think she has the T20 expertise
Not
at this
power
point.
hitters. Yeah.
Power hitting and see they play Astika Bhatia, who's not a
Yeah.
T20 batter. See, yesterday because the openers played for a long time, they couldn't even let her bat. The
Correct.
batting order was changed. She never came into bat, and I feel even Jemima was retired out maybe a couple of overs later
Mm.
because if Richa had come, so
Yeah, she
and
didn't get enough batting. Yeah.
he didn't get enough batting. Harmanpreet is towards the last leg of her career. She's 37 plus. So I mean, she played a brilliant innings yesterday. The way she hit, and I mean, because of her, the score became 170. Otherwise, it was
Correct.
starting around 145, 150 is what it was. It
Yeah,
looked
yeah.
like. So that one, even 170 against the might of Australia. I mean, they finished with 2 hours to spare almost. So it just
Um,
doesn't work. So I think they really have to rethink the power hitting. I mean, even I don't know. Even when we watch WPL, all the big hittings, the big scores, the big strike rate scores are all mostly by the
Foreign
overseas
players. Yeah.
players. Overseas players, and even if you see good players, I mean, here and there you see Richa Ghosh playing one. Only the known names you will know. There are
Yeah.
no new names coming up in the T20 power
As a
hitting
bat
format.
in the batting, I think the
In the
bowling has had
yes,
some
yes,
impact,
yes.
but
Of course,
the
I'm talking
batting
about batting.
definitely. Yeah.
Batting.
So
So that is
definitely from a
something that they
batting
have
perspective.
to. That is something that they have to unearth somehow. And they. With all due respect, they've been playing very well. The women's team over the last few years, definitely. But I think the T20 firepower,
Yeah.
especially in batting, is missing. I think Jaga. That is something
Yeah,
that
I think
BCCI has to
I
take.
think we'll have to definitely hope only for the WPL to solve that problem. I don't know. at the local league stage, how much of that is there. The other challenge is, of course, that it's pretty much, I mean, I guess if you look at the squad composition also, I don't know if there are any like T20 specialist type of players. So the same names were there in the 50 over World Cup also last November. So I think that's definitely something that they need to look at. Uh, in a sense, like you said, it took the men's team a good 15 years after the IPL has started to start reaping the benefits. So I'll be looking at like maybe 10 years later is when the women's team will start bringing in the type of people that are needed right now. But then 10 years later, cricket would have evolved, and you never know what the requirements at that stage are going to be.
I hope they learn from the men's team, and I mean, wise people learn from other people's mistakes. They say, right? So, so, so they learn from the men's team and get it sooner. I mean, there is a lot of talent, but the power hitting is definitely lacking.
Which
I'm
is,
especially
yeah, absolutely
worried that if
important. Yeah,
Harman is, it's on her last leg of a career, so there is nobody in the middle order except for Richa.
yeah, correct.
The one person is not going to help. See the way how South Africa or England or Australia do. I'm sure sometimes in South Africa, Marizan Cap fails and then Nadine D. Clark takes over. So
Yeah,
those you need to have like that. I mean, we have seen it over the men's cricket also. It's not one hitter is not going to help.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
So on
And
that,
I guess
I
the
mean, that was a good. Like you started saying, no, losing to Australia is not
yeah,
anything derogatory. They are too powerful, I think. But the semi-final the semi-finalists that Australia are going to face is West Indies women who have done well throughout the series, but they have had a stumbling block just before the semi-final, losing to Ireland. Ireland's only win.
which you don't really expect to happen.
Right?
I guess Irish, it's been a good, just like it was a bad weekend for the women's and men's national teams. It was a great weekend for the men's and women's national teams for Ireland because Ireland now defeated India 2-0 in a two-match series, completely blanked, whitewashed, whatever you want to call it. And I think what was really galling is that I don't think the batsmen especially try to even get used to the conditions. The ground shapes are different, the wind conditions, the pitch was a little spongier. And if you see, so many batsmen were out caught in the deep, in the square boundaries. Maybe it's an indicator that the pitches, the grounds are a little bigger than what they're used to in the postcard size grounds in the IPL. I don't, and maybe I think we've spoken about it earlier, right? The fact that there is no impact player in international cricket, but it continues to exist in the IPL, that seems to be an issue because now you don't have this other batsman that can come in and do the job for you. That's it. You're the last person, so you have to get it done. So I don't know. I think the BCCI has to probably look at all of this, and I know there's a lot of even within cricketing circles. I've read lots of stories about how the players are not necessarily enthusiastic about this,
Yes.
and they're basically saying, "Look, it's there to stay. We'll just have to deal with it."
No, no, I
I
think
think there
even
are
even
quite a few
Shubman
learnings.
even the
Even Shubman Gill said that, yeah.
Shubman Gill has said that they don't want
Rohit also said it last
Yes,
year or
Rohit
something
also
like that.
said. I mean, so even the star players are not happy having the impact player. I think they will eventually they might remove it, especially if a couple of results like this keep going. The
Yeah,
international. I mean, even in the international the World Cup T20 that India recently won,
yeah,
there was a game where the bowlers were doing the talking. The South Africa game they lost. Say they lost
yeah, yeah,
that game.
correct.
So whenever it's like that, I mean, I think I'm reminded of the sledge by the Sri Lanka A player to Vaibhav Suryavanshi saying this is not IPL. So that is something that
Same
that
way.
that is something the Irish players could have told the Indian men
Yeah,
yesterday, I
yeah.
think. The other side of looking at a couple of things that came to my mind was, I mean, they expected Shreyas Iyer to captain India like the first half of Punjab Kings, but I think he is doing it like the second half of
Pick it up.
Punjab Kings. And the other thing,
He has to cut that trend now itself because they lost six in a row. This is two right now.
so there are, I mean, three or five more T20s coming versus England. And another thing is, I don't know, there were always, I mean, I don't know how the Gambhir Shreyas Iyer relationship is, Jaga, because there was always murmurs about in the 2024 IPL when KKR won with Gambhir
Yeah,
and Shreyas Iyer at the helm. Shreyas Iyer parted ways with KKR after that,
Yeah, correct.
winning the IPL. I mean, there were murmurs about him saying that he was not given enough credit for the IPL victory and all those things. I don't know who took the credit and why was it not given. I mean, I'm just guessing if it did Gambhir take all the credit and Shreyas Iyer didn't take the credit, or all those things playing into the Indian
Yeah.
cricket team right now. I am not sure still, but these are things that comes to fans' minds. Definitely, I feel, Jaga.
Yeah, and the fact that there is still no sign of Viber, we'll see where maybe he does play in England, which probably would be an even tougher set of conditions because the quality of bowling will be better. Will the quality of batting will be better than the Irish, of course, relatively speaking. The other thing that happened is that you did have West Indies beating Sri Lanka in the first test. Very comprehensive win. West Indies scored like 600 plus by an innings and 300, 400 runs or something like that. So very comprehensive. You had one near double century by Roston Chase and Amir Jangu scoring 230. Kemar Roach gets his 300th wicket. He's been around for a while, right? And you remember you go back to the early part of his career when he was rattling Ricky Ponting. Now he's like at 300 wickets. It looks good, right? I mean, West Indies over the last 10, 15 years have really not done that great as a test team. So for one person to basically carry that attack, now he has better quality of support around him. So it's
No, in fact,
good that he's
in
got
fact,
300.
whenever we talk of Kemar Roach, the thing that comes to my mind was he was selected first time when the main players opted out to play a series. I think it was against Bangladesh or some
Okay,
board fight. The players and the
okay, okay.
board. There is always a tussle between the West Indies
Yeah, yeah,
players and the
yeah.
board, right? So the main team said there no nobody we
Okay,
are not playing, and then they sent a second string side to Bangladesh. I
okay,
mean, I think which
okay,
beat Bangladesh also. I think that is when Kemar Roach
okay,
was first selected as a second
okay.
string side who was willing to not get into the tussle between the players and the board. But now, starting from there and getting to 300 wickets, yes, it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
commendable, really commendable. And Amir Jango's 233 also, he was just playing his second test, Jaga. His first test
yeah.
was sometime early in 2025, if I remember correctly, versus
Mm.
Pakistan. So he's got a double hundred. That is excellent. So Sri Lanka has a lot of thinking to do before the next. I think there are two more tests there, so they have a lot of
Yeah.
thinking to do. And
So
a lot
yeah,
of other crickets also happening. The MLC, the Bangladesh are playing a test versus Zimbabwe in Harare. It's just day one is over, so we'll get to all that once the games progress. And
yeah.
that
I
all,
mean, it's
Jaga.
obviously a busy time right now. Right now, it's like the cricket season in a lot of countries as well. So that's why you're seeing all of this, which means we will keep churning out content. So please do keep watching, following, subscribing, leave us your comments. Thank you then. Bye.
Bye.